me. Please don't let it show. Got my pink Moscato. Oh, baby. Hi, my wonderful sweet babies. It's Destined Choice, and you're listening to Time Out with Choice. Now, for today's podcast, I want to come on here and give y'all a quick synopsis about what's going on. And while I do that, I'm going to be enjoying my pink Moscato. So it's late as fuck at night, and I want to rant and talk shit. Because if y'all didn't know, Dan Schneider's dirty, fucking, disgusting, pedophile ass, allegedly, is basically trending on Twitter. And he's trending on Twitter specifically because the cast of Victorious is celebrating their 10th year anniversary. Now, if y'all didn't know, Dan Schneider, that peach-built bitch, that disgusting piece of white caca who's literally the fucking white R. Kelly, is trending on Twitter specifically because a lot of people are mad at Ariana Grande. A lot of people are mad at Ariana Grande, the beautiful, melanated chocolate goddess, Ariana Grande. Because if y'all didn't know, Ariana Grande decided to link up through video chat along with the rest of the cast members of the hit Nickelodeon show Victorious to celebrate the 10th year anniversary.
Okay, we're recording. Hey, look, everybody, it's the cast of Victorious!
Yeah!
Thank you. Yeah. Stay home, stay safe, be good, do the right thing, and thank you. And Victorious, 10 years, thank you all, and we appreciate it. Bye-bye.
10 years.
Love you guys.
So one Twitter user wrote, "Holy fucking shit, she's actually posting a picture of them casually on video call with Dan Schneider like he's not a pedophile creep. I'm so sad and uncomfortable. Shame on her and everyone else in this video call. What was she thinking?" Then somebody quoted Ariana Grande's tweet and they said, "Why are you on FaceTime with this guy that sexually fetishized your feet? Come on, Ari. Everyone knows Dan Schneider is a creep." Then somebody came in Ariana Grande's defense and they said, "Are people actually dragging Ariana for posting a screenshot of a call with Dan Schneider on it? I know he's a creep, but she's not responsible for his behavior. Y'all are so weird." Which is a very good point, but he definitely did give Ariana Grande a career and put a lot of them on. But it is kind of weird how he did play a role in over-sexualizing Ariana Grande's feet and her body and a lot of other celebs and child stars. But, you know, it's just like, why would you want to be seen with someone like that? But hey, it is what it is, and when the time comes for Dan Schneider to get exposed, you already know they all finna be apologizing. They all gonna be apologizing. Ugh. So y'all can see why that's a little bit problematic, because Dan Schneider has a really disgusting rep for doing a lot of fucked up shit along with a lot of disgusting people in Hollywood. So Victorious was a very popular show on Nickelodeon way back in 2009. Well, 2010 to be more exact. And it aired from 2010 to like 2013. And the show was a really big hit. The show ran for like 4 seasons. It was basically... It was the knockoff Taina. It was basically about 5-6 kids who went to a performing arts school trying to chase their dreams. They were attending a school called Hollywood Arts. And basically the show was a massive success. The show literally averaged like 6 million viewers a night. It was huge. Like, I actually enjoyed the show. It was one of the few shows that I actually enjoyed watching after I outgrew Nickelodeon, because y'all know Nickelodeon is pretty fucking corny now, and it has been for like a decade now. Nickelodeon is like one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life. Every time I fucking see Nickelodeon, I just want to fucking blow my brains out, because it's a whole bunch of stank ass, ugly ass, little ass kids who can't act for shit. And no offense to people who got kids, because I don't want y'all to feel offended if you got kids. But a lot of these snot-nosed fucking ugly ass kids can't act for shit. I'm faded with my pink Moscato. But basically, Dan Schneider is trending because obviously he was a legendary producer. If y'all know who Dan Schneider is, Dan Schneider was a huge actor in the 80s. He was on a very popular show in the 80s called Head of the Class, which was a really good show. And after his appearance on Head of the Class, he went on to produce other shit. If you guys didn't know, he's responsible for the making of Keenan and Kel, the really big fat white guy who was the cashier on Good Burger. You know, he plays a really big part of my childhood. So it was really disappointing to find out, 2 years ago, that he was on some pedophile type shit, because here's a good gist and a good grasp of Dan Schneider's character. Now, long story short, Dan Schneider was really good friends, and he even set up camps with this other pedophile. So one of Dan Schneider's really close friends was a guy named Brian Peck. He was basically a really old guy who was known for working on All of That. He also worked on The Amanda Show, and he also ran a comedy camp. It was called Comedy Boot Camp, with Dan Schneider. And basically, they used to scout, look for young talent, and they used to recruit people at this camp. Now, come to find out, while he was working behind the scenes during the Amanda show, he actually molested and assaulted a young girl while she was under the influence, allegedly. And then he penetrated her with foreign objects. Now, this is all documented, but he has since denied it, and he only spent a few months in jail. Yeah, Hollywood has power. Dan Schneider has also been known for having a foot fetish, because if y'all didn't know, there was a prominent amount of fucking feet in a lot of Victoria's, Zoe 101, iCarly, Drake and Josh, Victoria's episodes. Like, a lot of these characters are being over-sexualized. There was even this one episode where Ariana Grande, who was, by the way, 16 at the time, was really out here with a whole fucking bikini on and fucking pom-pom shorts at 16 being sprayed with water guns. I'm like, so cool! It's so cool! So you had scenes like this going on, and you had scenes like this where Ariana Grande was pouring fucking, water on herself while she was wearing a braless top. It was just like, okay, this is obviously not a coincidence. This is obviously some pedophile type shit, and I'm not with it, okay? I don't fuck with Pedalwood, aka Hollywood, and I don't fuck with Hollywood because they're all fucking a whole bunch of gross, disgusting, fat, disgusting pigs who sit up here as over-sexualized kids, and they normalize this stuff. There's a reason why when we were younger, kids were playing fucking booty tag and slapping each other's asses in middle school, because a lot of this stuff gets normalized because of these TV shows. People are pressed about, transgenders getting, representation, but they should really be pressed about the fact that pedophiles are actually instilling toxic masculinity and instilling, the over-sexualization of young girls on television. That's what people should really be worried about. So it's fucking insane how a lot of this stuff we didn't notice as kids, but a lot of it is very prominent in cartoons, like, SpongeBob. A lot of it is prominent in cartoons. So, long story short, a lot of people are really pressed on Ariana Grande's case and the whole cast of Victoria. A lot of people are on their case in general because they're out here being posted up with Dan Schneider.
Thank you so much for accepting Victorious into your homes and for making us part of your lives. And we couldn't, it means so much to us how the fans have accepted us over the last 10 years. So thank you.
Woo!
Yeah, we love y'all.
He's the whole white R. Kelly and still hasn't been prosecuted for a lot of the fuck shit he's done. In fact, Nickelodeon actually fired his ass 2 years ago, back in 2018. They fired his ass, but according to them, they peacefully parted ways with him, and they allegedly paid him $7 million. They allegedly paid him $7 million off. So they basically paid him his salary, his 2 years worth of salary, and they got rid of him. They got rid of him despite the fact that he was making a lot of money for the network. And despite the fact that he had a lot of pedophile shit going on since 2005, and he had a lot of people coming out and coming forward trying to expose him for allegedly having pool parties with kids. Now, first things first, I'm going to play this audio of a woman who claimed that she was discovered by Dan and his team. And she basically gave some lengthy details about some of the shady things that she saw and that she had to deal with while auditioning and being discovered.
So in 1997, I was discovered in a mall, basically we would go on auditions just to different places, and eventually I got a manager and an agent who would send me on audition calls for, little things like commercials and everything. And then as I started growing in my career, in 2007, my agent contacted me and my family about possibly getting a good Nickelodeon gig. Of course, we always ask, like, oh, what do we have to do? Like, what would you like us to be doing once we're in there? And my agent told me, he's like, it's going to be like he's like, you got to just take off your shoes, just like run around in front of the camera, talk about how much you love being barefoot. And at the time, even, it was like, okay, that's weird, but I didn't think anything of it because I was still young. My mom kind of looked around and was like, this is wrong. There's just something really wrong about this. So what would happen is that your parents would send you to sort of like this camp. It was basic acting classes, and it was an opportunity for the kids to get discovered. And interestingly enough, most of the kids got discovered by the pool.
Nickelodeon just now decided to part ways with him in 2018. So ever since, he hasn't really done anything big, but he's still making millions upon millions, fucking pools of millions of dollars, because he has Drake and Josh, Keenan and Kel iCarly, and y'all know a lot of these shows still play on T-Nick. A lot of these shows still play in loop on television. You can stream a lot of these shows on Amazon Prime. You can stream a lot of these shows on Hulu. And long story short, Dan Schneider is one of those pedophiles who still hasn't had his Me Too movement. He still hasn't had his Harvey Weinstein movement. Because we all have to admit that a lot of this stuff you're seeing in Hollywood, a lot of it is just overall disgusting. Because you see that there's a constant pattern of young girls wearing bikinis. There was even scenes where Dan Schneider would literally put the girls in bikinis doing creepy, weird shit. It's just... It's not all a coincidence.
Now, real quick before I proceed, I'm going to play y'all a couple audio clips of some of the disturbing crap that Dan Schneider wrote into a lot of these shows involving feet and feet fetish.
Completes our 5-part series on toes with froze. Now, I'm going to turn off the camera using only the remote and the power of my toes.
However, it's undeniable that there are a large number of feet-related puns and barefoot scenes in the shows. Too many to list here.
Toe's a ballerina! My big toe's a rock star! Rock on, big toe! My big toe's a welder!
Have you ever tried to get your whole big toe in your mouth? Check this out!
Now, in Hollywood, Pedalwood, I want a lot of y'all to understand that you really got to protect these kids because kids are the most vulnerable people ever. Kids are one of those people who wear... Let's just put it this way. If you're under the age of 18, you don't know yourself. You don't know shit about yourself. But right now, you're stupid as fuck. You don't know any better. So now this is the perfect time for weird creeps and pedophiles who have been on this earth for a very long time and know the game to manipulate you into doing fuck shit. And that's what happens in Hollywood. Because I see a lot of these kids who want to be child stars. And I remember when I was young, I used to always, drive past or walk by a lot of these casting rooms. Because I lived in a big city. I grew up in a big city. I grew up in Miami, and I would always see a lot of these young kids waiting for their big break, wanting their big break, wanting to be in the next show, wanting to be the next Drake and Josh, wanting to be the next, Lizzie McGuire, wanting to be the next Aaliyah, wanting to be the next, shit, I don't fucking know. What other shit we watch as kids? Wanting to be the next, Sabrina, the teenage witch. All these people wanted to be the next T and Samara. Long story short, everybody wanted to be the next big child star because you see all these kids on television making so much money for being themselves, and you see all these kids on television making so much money for just being young, attractive, and just living life and having fun. But in reality, a lot of them aren't having fun and living their lives, which is why I want to bring this up. Now, if you guys didn't know, Dan Schneider actually created the show Zoe 101. Zoe 101 was basically a show called, it was basically a show based around a group of girls and boys going to a boarding school trying to figure out everyday life and going through everyday teenage issues. And long story short, one of the cast members actually came forth to out Dan Schneider and to out the entire cast. A lot of the characters actually didn't like her in real life, and in fact, she was actually disrespected countless times. And the star of the show, Jamie Lynn Spears, Britney Spears' sister, was constantly disrespecting her, calling her all types of bitches, making fun of her, never invited her to slumber parties, and so on and so forth. Well, she recently, a couple months ago, went on Instagram Live to out Dan Schneider and out the entire cast and out Nickelodeon for mistreating her and her mom.
Dan's right in the middle, so like directly across from me. Does not look happy. And basically they just went on this whole thing that it's not Nicole 101. It's called Zoe 101. If I wanted my own show, I should have went and got one. And I'm like sick, and my mom's telling him the scenario and like saying like she won't say what's happening. So then finally Dan walks in. And Dan has not helped the entire time. And I don't feel comfortable going into details about what I've seen with Dan or like what Dan is. But he comes through and with a smirk on his face. And because he's known the entire time that it was leading to this. He could have prevented this. Like he could have stepped in and been like, let's be friends here. We're on a kid's show. So Dan comes in with like a smirk on his face, which he's always had with me. Not a nice guy. Comes in, he's like, what's going on? What happened, Alexa? Oh no, sorry, he goes, what happened now with you, Alexa? As if it's my fault, like immediately. And I finally start to blurt out, like, what happened? And like, what happened when I went to the trailer, and what happened? And he was like, you have to go on set. You have to film this last scene. And like, had no care.
Now,
I could understand why she doesn't want to say nothing, hence why, she said that she didn't want to go into that. But Dan Schneider is obviously not an innocent man, and it's so gross and disgusting how Nickelodeon's fucking disgusting ass has literally let this man fly and basically go his day-to-day lives about being held accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took a lot of this stuff having to hit the internet for them to be like, okay, you know what? Social media's on the rise. Yeah, we don't want to be associated with this. We're just gonna let you go. So please understand that all these celebrities like Ariana Grande and all these other celebrities like Victoria Justice and Liz Gillies and all these other celebrities who willingly got on live stream, willingly got on a video call to wish everybody a happy 10th year anniversary, they're just as disgusting as Dan Schneider to even sit up there and just act natural. Because I don't know, had I been a fucking cast member on that bitch, I would have been like, so Dan Schneider, you're out here having foot fetishes and shit, can you address that now that you're here on live? That's what I probably would have fucking said. But this is really disturbing how he's really out here having all these allegations about foot fetishes and shit. And it's way more than the foot fetishes. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of people who have came forth to say that he's a disgusting man and he's a monster. There's a lot of people who have came forth to say that, he's made them do weird, creepy shit. There's a lot of people. There hasn't been tangible evidence to prosecute him and have people investigate him, but there's enough evidence to where a lot of people have came forth. And like I always say, where there's smoke, there's fire. So it's disturbing how Dan Schneider, who wrote the show, over-sexualized these kids, instilled all these horrible adult jokes, is not being held accountable. But for some reason, you got all these people like Oprah and Mrs. Kale King who want to sit up here and try to hold Mr. Michael Jackson and Mr. Kobe Bryant accountable. Which is also, I want to tap on that a little bit, because I don't want to make this a whole race thing in general, because I don't want this to be a whole, black versus white thing. I'm not going to go there. Because that's a whole other podcast for a whole other day. But one thing I do want to talk about is there's a lot of weird, creepy shit happening in Hollywood because a lot of parents are so desperate to make some extra bucks. A lot of parents are willing to pimp out their kids and make their kids play the part in order to make an extra buck, which is so disturbing. It's the same thing with Aaliyah. Aaliyah is a good example because if y'all didn't know, Aaliyah was basically pimped out by her parents. That's my conspiracy theory. I think Aaliyah, the amazing singer who I love and a lot of y'all love, we all got love for Aaliyah, but her parents pimped her out, in my opinion. Because there's no reason why Aaliyah, who was 14 years old at the time, was getting plotted on. People were out here making her fake IDs, making her wedding licenses and shit. We're out here watching her have sex with R. Kelly. There's no reason why a 14-year-old girl, 14-year-old Aaliyah, was messing around with 27-year-old R. Kelly. There's just no reason for that. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, we're not related at all. No, we're not. We're just very close. He's my best friend.
Yeah, cool.
No.
Parents are out here putting their kids in fucking, what's that other shit called? These pageant shits. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. These pageants are creepy as fuck. They're very creepy. Like, a lot of these parents are putting their kids in pageants. Their kids are wearing these onesies and these big ass wigs and these fucking over dramatic makeups. I think that's a good example. Pageants are just not it. Like, I've always thought pageants were creepy and weird and disgusting, and they play a role in Hollywood's pedophilia for young girls and over-sexualizing young girls. Like I always say, people are pressed about transgenders getting representation on television, but they're not pressed about the highly weird shit going on. Shirley Temple's a good example. If y'all didn't know, Shirley Temple was out here getting sexually assaulted, molested, and abused while she was a teenager and while she was a young girl in Hollywood, and a lot of people didn't say anything. A lot of people did say stuff, but it never was a big deal because a lot of people have pretty much normalized it. A big reason why people normalize the fact that 25, 28, 29-year-old men are fucking 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old girls is because of this, this whole television shit. It's because of Hollywood. There's a reason why the age of consent and fucking, apparently the age of consent I think in Nigeria, it's actually like 14. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 14. If I'm wrong, correct me.
Okay, update. I just looked it up. It's actually not 14. The age of consent in Nigeria is 11 years old. See what I mean by a lot of these men in power are the ones placing a lot of these rules all over the world? They're the ones who make these rules.
Correct me. But I think the age of consent in a lot of foreign countries is 14 and 15. And the reason I'm bringing up foreign countries is because I want y'all to understand that a lot of these celebrities like Ariana Grande that y'all put on these big pedestals, a lot of them don't give a fuck about y'all because a lot of people were pressed and were very upset at Ariana Grande because she's obviously, you know, our beautiful black queen. You know, she's obviously our beautiful Latina queen, even though she's not Latina and her real name isn't Ariana Grande. It's actually Ariana Grande, and she's actually a white Italian woman. But anyways, even though a lot of people were dragging Ariana Grande, obviously because she's a celebrity and she's the biggest name, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of celebrities don't give a fuck about y'all. They don't care about the young girls who are missing. They don't care about the young girls who are on the back of milk cartons. Because believe it or not, a lot of celebrities don't give a fuck because some of them are funding these sex trafficking rings. Some of them are part of it. There's a reason why people say celebrities are evil. A lot of them are funding sex trafficking rings. A lot of them are funding a lot of these campaigns and fucking. A lot of them are just overall just funding the fact that a lot of them are endorsed or working for these men who are funding these sex trafficking and over sexualization of these young girl rings. They're funding this. They're a part of it. They're affiliated with it. So they just don't want to be a part of it overall. Because it's always amazing how you see all these celebrities who don't use their platforms to help all the young girls who are missing right now. Because right now there's like 700 girls missing in Atlanta, and it's insane how a lot of them aren't getting media coverage. And there's a lot of young girls missing in Ohio because Ohio has disgusting rates of sex trafficking. And, you know, of course, New York has a really disgusting rate of missing girls right now. But that's a whole other video and a whole other podcast I'm going to make very soon. You know, a good example was that, what's that guy's name again? Pee-wee, whatever. He had that show where he was like, it's Pee-wee's Playhouse or some fuck shit like that. Did y'all know that he was a fucking rapist, allegedly? And that allegedly that he was out here fucking like, he had like loads and loads of fucking child pornography back in 1992. He was arrested and he had charges and everything. They forced him to register as a sex offender, but no one even fucking talks about it. Like, he was literally on fucking Conan O'Brien the other day, and I'm just like, but do y'all not remember that he's a whole fucking sex offender? So it's weird how a lot of people are ready to, you know, boycott Bill Cosby. They're ready to take the Cosby Show off of the CW. They're ready to take the Cosby Show out of loop. They're ready to not stream and not play the Cosby Show. They're ready to take Michael Jackson off of certain radio stations, but they're not gonna hold Mr. Pee-wee's Playhouse, who was out here having tons of pornography, child pornography, in his fucking stash. You know, it's really creepy. Really creepy. So this is why I'm not really surprised at Ariana Grande. So for everyone that wanted me to make a video, I just want to say I'm not surprised. I've said this a lot of times, and I'll say it again. A lot of these celebrities and a lot of these stars that are put on pedestals are attached to these sex trafficking rings. A lot of them don't give a fuck about a lot of these pedophiles. They don't care. They'll still be in cahoots with them. They wait till they get held accountable for it to address it. It took Harvey Weinstein, literally, despite Harvey Weinstein getting dragged and facing a ton of allegations since 2005. It took now, when the Me Too movement goes viral on Twitter, for all these celebrities who took all these photos with him to now say, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to take a photo with Harvey Weinstein. I didn't know he was a rapist. I mean, yeah, there was that one time I was in the room the other day, but I just looked the other way and I didn't know he was a rapist. I mean, yeah, I spent a lot of time with him, but I didn't know he was a rapist. I mean, yeah, I kicked it in his house one time, but I didn't know he was a rapist. That's why all these celebrities and all these fucking people who have taken photos with him have to clear their name now. So yeah, for those of y'all who are really sad and upset about Ariana Grande doing this, yeah, believe it or not, there weren't that many tweets. He was trending on Twitter worldwide, but it was only like 8,000 tweets. A lot of people weren't pressed about Ariana Grande, and believe it or not, there were even a few people who were trying to defend Ariana Grande, like, oh, so what? That's her friend. That's her friend. She probably doesn't condone his actions, but that's her friend. And I'm just like, hope some of you bitches don't have kids, because I was disgusted. Now, we have to be really, really honest here. When it comes to all the pedophilia going on the internet, and you know, in Hollywood in general, we have to keep the same energy. There is a lot of creepy stuff going on, and I'd be wrong if I didn't hold, you know, all these other people accountable, because I am constantly bringing up R. Kelly and I am constantly bringing up Bill Cosby, but I do hold these men accountable because, shit, I'll still watch Fat Albert. Fat Albert is a good ass fucking movie, and people will say, why are you watching that? Like, I'll put me watching Fat Albert, the movie with Kyla Pratt, on my Insta story, and then people will say, ew, why are you watching that? Did you know Bill Cosby created that? Bill Cosby produced it. He's a rapist. And then those are the same people who still watch iCarly. Those are the same people who still watch Drake and Josh. And it's just like, we got to keep the same fucking energy here and separate the artist from the art. Although Dan Schneider has made a lot of contributions to the culture and has created so many timeless classics that we all love today, we all have to hold them accountable still. Now, let's just be honest here. A lot of these celebrities that I still enjoy when it comes to their art need to be held accountable. A good example is James Franco. I loved him in Spring Breakers, but he was out here texting a 17-year-old girl a couple years ago, but no one said anything. This man in his 30s was fucking trying to fuck a 17-year-old girl, sending her provocative photos, but no one really said anything because nobody really gave a fuck because it is a white man. Because white men of power have the most privilege out of everybody, especially white rich men. They have the most privilege in the entire fucking world. And I'm not gonna lie, I also gotta hold Michael Jackson accountable because don't get me wrong, I know how y'all feel about when I bring up Michael Jackson. He was found innocent, but he wasn't found innocent in all his cases. A lot of his cases he did settle out of court, which in reality, if there was no tangible proof, there's no reason to hold them accountable. But Michael Jackson was kind of a fucking creep. I have to admit that because let me just play this audio real quick.
Every song I write, every dance I do, all the poetry I write is all inspired from that level of innocence, that consciousness of purity. And children have that. I see God in the face of children. And I just love being around that all the time. Are you guys still staying up late? Sometimes I call your house. It's so late.
Oh yeah,
you're like, but you tell me to call. You tell me to call late.
We did. That was
when
one time.
people hear that children from other families have come and they've stayed in your house, they've stayed in your bedroom.
Well, very few.
But, some have. And they say, is that really appropriate for a man, a grown man, to be doing that? How do you respond to that?
I feel sorry for them because that's judging someone who wants to really help people. Why can't you share your bed? The most loving thing to do is to share your bed with someone. But no, yes, we have guest units, but whenever kids come here, they always want to stay with me. They never want to stay in the guest. And I have never invited them in my room. They always just want to stay. They say, can I stay with you tonight? I go, if it's okay with your parents, yes, you can.
Yeah, Michael Jackson was out here sleeping and sharing the same beds with kids. And please don't come out here with that well, he didn't have a childhood. Who cares that he wanted to and sleep in the same bed as 8-year-olds? Who cares? Okay, cool. Well, let your 6-year-old and 7 and 8-year-old share a bed with a 44-year-old man. Oh, okay, that's what I thought. So you see where I'm coming from here? So I do hold all these people who have done some predatory, nasty shit, even if it wasn't pedophilia, even if it was accountable. Because Hollywood in general, there's a lot of rape and pedophilia going on, and it's gross. Because you think when you see all these kids on the internet and when you see them all over television, you think they're living the life, you think they're having so much fun, and it's just like, no, a lot of them aren't having fun. A lot of them are being abused. Because I didn't even realize Alexa Nicholas was being abused behind the scenes and being mistreated behind the scenes until she spoke out recently. Mind you, Zoe 101 came out fucking 12 years ago, 13 years ago, damn near back in 2007, and she's just now speaking up. That's wild. So I hold all these people accountable, and I want everybody to be more woke about a lot of this Hollywood shit, this Hollywood shit, this pedowood shit. Yeah, watch your kids. Watch your kids like a hawk. Don't let your kids sleep over nobody's house unless you know they fucking hair type, they blood type, the panties they had on that same night. Don't let your kids sleep anywhere. Watch your kids. Kids are precious, and we don't need any more murderers, serial killers, rapists, and child molesters in this world. Because a lot of them in reality were not protected as children. That's how I look at a lot of evil people in the world. A lot of them weren't protected as children. So that's just how I see it. So yeah, Dan Schneider, you're a disgusting fucking fat piece of caca peach-shaped bitch who needs their fucking ass whooped because of all the disgusting things you perpetuated in these shows, the over-sexualization of these children, and a lot of them still have the nerves to still link up with you for the 10th year anniversary, oh yeah, 10-year anniversary, because I'm sure the show pays their fucking bills because a lot of them haven't booked shit ever since Nickelodeon. A lot of them haven't done shit with their lives since Nickelodeon. But Ariana Grande, someone who's successful, you would think, if she's gonna link up with Dan Schneider, she might as well link up with R. Kelly and say, oh my god, guys, dude, this is totally sick, I love R. Kelly's music. She might as well do that, because although you can separate the artist from the art, and although you can separate a friend from their personal life, I understand that, but At Ariana Grande's level, for her not to hold him accountable and for her to ignore the fact that a lot of her fans aren't okay with the fact that he was attached to a lot of pedophile shit and the fact that he over-sexualized her a lot in a lot of scenes, you would think that she'd think twice before she ever linked up with him. But hey, like I said, most of these celebs are evil. Most of these singers, actresses, they're all evil as fuck. They're all fucking having orgies and shit, and they're all literally a whole damn litter of fucking satanic pigs who don't give a fuck about none of these people who are missing in the media, none of these people who have been raped, molested, or sexually assaulted, or none of these people who have been abused in the industry behind the scenes. They don't give a fuck about none of these people because really all they care about is fucking Denaro, and that just is what it is. So yeah, I've talked enough shit. I've given my opinion enough. My camera and my sound machine is about to fucking die. So I think I'm pretty much going to end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I hope y'all gained something from this. I hope y'all Arianators don't drag my ass too fucking much. Because, you know, your fave is fucking evil. Even though she does make some good ass fucking music. I do got to admit that. So, yeah. That was that for this podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Shout out to everybody listening on Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, all the major streaming platforms. I really appreciate all of y'all. I love you guys so much. If you guys want to join my Patreon, it's as low as $2. You can even get notifications, letters, and personal messages from me, so on and so forth. Follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get to 100K on there. And yeah, that's that. That's pretty much it for this podcast. I hope you guys, hope you guys enjoy the fact that, your beautiful chocolate melanated queen is problematic as fuck and doesn't give a fuck about the pedophiles in Hollywood. And despite being friends with Dan Schneider, still won't hold him accountable and will still be okay with linking up with him. But of course, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when Dan Schneider is, caught up and he's going through his Harvey, Weinstein shit, I'm sure she's going to have a buttload of explanations for why she did that damn video stream. So yeah. That's that for this podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, that's that. Timeout is over. You guys were just listening to Time Out with Choice. If you guys are interested, please be sure to subscribe on all the major streaming platforms like Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts on Androids. You can listen on any platform while you're on your flight, on a train. Even if you don't have Wi-Fi, please check me out. Check them out. Subscribe on all these major platforms just in case YouTube ever takes these videos down. That's where you can always listen to it in security. Thank you.